Hello friends, add 2 pounds or 900 grams of ground beef. Crack 2 eggs into the bowl. Eggs help bind everything together. Add 1 teaspoon of salt. One teaspoon of black pepper. And 1 teaspoon of paprika. Next, grate 1 medium onion. The juices from the onion help keep the meat moist and add a delicate sweetness. I always smile when I grate onions. I remember my mother doing this in our small kitchen, her eyes tearing up, but she never stopped. Add the grated onion into the bowl. Now finely chop a bunch of fresh parsley. Parsley doesn't just add a pop of green, it's rich in vitamin K and antioxidants. It supports our bones, our heart, and gives our food a fresh, garden-like taste. Friends, it warms my heart to see where you're from. Share your country and city, and if you're in the US, let me know your state. Toss it in. And now let's get our hands in there and mix everything together. It's truly the best way to feel the texture and ensure everything blends evenly. Don't overwork the mixture though. Once everything is well combined, stop mixing to keep the meat tender. Now, while the meat rests a moment, place 5 medium potatoes into a pot. Cover with water. Add 1 teaspoon of salt. Place a lid on top. Let them simmer for 30 to 40 minutes, or until they're fork tender. Now, lay a large sheet of parchment paper on your work surface. Place the meat mixture on top and gently press it into a rectangle about 1 inch thick. Try to shape it evenly. This will help it roll smoothly. As I do this, I always think back to the times when my family would gather in the kitchen. There was something so comforting about watching my mother press the meat by hand, humming softly, while the smell of dinner slowly filled the house. Cooking like this, slowly, carefully, reminds me that food isn't just about feeding the body. It feeds the soul too. Next, in a frying pan, melt a 1/4 stick or 30 grams of butter. If you have any questions about the recipes, leave them in the comments and I'll respond as soon as I notice them. Now grate 2 garlic cloves on a mini grater. Garlic is not only delicious, it's full of natural antibacterial and antiviral properties. It's like a little immune boost in your meal. If you liked the video, feel free to give it a like. Your support is always welcome. Add them to the pan. Sauté until fragrant, just about a minute. Now finely chop 5 ounces or 150 grams of fresh spinach. It's such a wonderful ingredient. It's packed with iron, calcium, and fiber, all essential for strong bones and healthy digestion. Friends, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell if you'd like to see more recipes like this one. Once your butter and garlic are fragrant in the pan, add the chopped spinach. Cook it down gently until it's soft and wilted, and all the excess moisture has evaporated. Once it's fully cooked, remove it from the heat. Spread the cooked spinach evenly over the meat. Take your time with this step. It's not just about placing ingredients, it's about layering in care, just like how our mothers or grandmothers used to do it. One spoonful at a time, making sure every bite would be flavorful and full of love. Now, heat a small drizzle of olive oil in a frying pan over medium heat. While the pan is warming up, finely chop 7 ounces or 200 grams of fresh mushrooms. I always enjoy this part. There's something calming about slicing mushrooms. Their earthy smell fills the kitchen, and it instantly reminds me of fall dinners when the days started getting cooler. Mushrooms aren't just tasty. They're full of B vitamins and antioxidants, which help support energy levels and a healthy immune system. Once chopped, add the mushrooms to the pan. Sauté them slowly, stirring now and then. Once they're ready, turn off the heat. Now, take your cooked mushrooms and spread them gently over the layer of spinach on the meat. Try to distribute them evenly, so every slice of the roll gets just the right balance of flavors. This part always reminds me of layering a warm, comforting casserole 1 spoonful at a time, thinking about the people who will soon be enjoying it. Then grate 5 ounces or 150 grams of Emmental cheese. Emmental melts beautifully and gives a subtle nutty flavor. Sprinkle it over everything. Now, using the parchment paper to guide you, gently roll the meat into a log, tucking it carefully as you go. It's a bit like wrapping up a cozy blanket. Take your time and enjoy the process. Next, let's prepare the glaze. In a small bowl, mix together 2 tablespoons of ketchup, 4 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of grain Dijon mustard, and 2 tablespoons of honey. Stir well until smooth. This sweet and savory glaze will give our roll a beautiful shine and flavor. Place the meat roll onto a sheet of foil. Brush it generously with the glaze. As you brush it on, take your time. This is the finishing touch before it goes into the oven. The sweet and savory glaze will caramelize as it bakes, adding a rich, golden color and irresistible aroma. Then wrap it tightly in the foil. Bake in a preheated oven at 360 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius for 1 hour. While that bakes, let's check our potatoes. Poke them with a knife. If it slides in easily, the potatoes are ready. Drain them and return them to the warm pot. This helps any leftover water evaporate. 2 fluid ounces or 60 milliliters of cream. Then add a 1/4 stick or 30 grams of butter and 1 ounce or 30 grams of grated Parmesan cheese. Now mash everything until smooth and creamy. The Parmesan gives it a gentle tang that balances beautifully with the buttery flavor. You can use a classic potato masher or even a hand whisk if you want it extra fluffy. 10 minutes before the meat roll is done, take it out of the oven. Carefully open the foil and brush it with the remaining glaze. Return it to the oven uncovered for the final 10 minutes. This gives the top a gorgeous golden finish and lets the edges caramelize just slightly. When the meat roll is done baking, take it out of the oven. Slice gently so you don't press out all those beautiful juices. You'll see the layers, flavorful meat, tender spinach, golden mushrooms, and melted cheese all wrapped together. It's always such a satisfying moment. Now, let's plate it up. Start by adding a generous spoonful of the creamy mashed potatoes, then place a thick, beautiful slice of the meat roll right alongside. For a final touch, add a few cherry tomatoes or sprinkle over some fresh herbs. And there you have it, a meal made from simple ingredients, with care and love in every step. It's comforting, nourishing, and made to be shared around the table with those we cherish most. I truly hope this dish brings warmth and joy to your home, just as it always has in mine. Thank you for cooking with me today. But don't go just yet. There's another cozy and tasty recipe I'd love to share with you. Put 2 pounds or 900 grams of ground beef. Break 2 eggs right into the bowl. Then add half a cup or 120 grams of breadcrumbs. Pour in 3 fluid ounces or 100 milliliters of milk. Now for the spices, add 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of dried garlic, and 1 teaspoon of oregano. These simple seasonings bring warmth and depth, enhancing the natural flavor of the beef. Now, mix everything together with hands or a spoon. Once it's ready, set the bowl aside to rest for a moment. Now, place a sheet of parchment paper on your work surface. Press the meat mixture onto the parchment, gently shaping it into a rectangle. Try to keep it even, not too thick and not too thin. This will be the base for our delicious filling. Next, grate 4 ounces or 120 grams of cheddar cheese. As you grate, notice how the cheese falls in soft little curls. There's something so comforting, almost meditative about this simple task. Sprinkle it evenly across the meat. As it bakes, the cheese will melt into the roll, binding everything together and adding that creamy, savory richness. Now, pour a little olive oil into a frying pan, just enough to coat the bottom, and warm it over medium heat. While the oil warms, take 1 onion and begin chopping it finely. I always like to take my time here. The smaller and more even the pieces, the more gently and evenly they'll cook. And onions, though so simple, are full of antioxidants that support the heart and help keep the immune system strong. Once it's finely chopped, add the onion to the pan. Let it slowly sauté until soft and golden, releasing that gentle sweetness and filling the kitchen with its comforting aroma. Now, grate 3 cloves of garlic on a mini grater. Take your time with this step. The finer the garlic, the more it releases those fragrant natural oils that carry all the flavor. Garlic may be small, but it's powerful. It strengthens the immune system, helps fight colds, and adds warmth to every dish. Add the garlic to the pan with the onions and stir. The aroma that rises now is just wonderful, rich, cozy, and so inviting. Next, finely chop 1 red bell pepper. Try to make the cubes even, so they cook at the same time. As you slice, notice the bright color and the crisp sound of the knife cutting through. Little reminders of fresh summer gardens. Bell peppers aren't just pretty. They're loaded with vitamin C, even more than citrus fruit. And they bring a natural sweetness that balances the savory flavors in the pan. Add the chopped pepper to the onions and garlic and stir everything together. Then chop 6 to 8 mushrooms, depending on their size. As the knife moves through, you can almost smell that earthy aroma already. Mushrooms always remind me of fall walks in the forest. The air cool and crisp, the ground soft with fallen leaves, and baskets filling slowly with these little treasures. Stir them into the pan, mixing everything well. Let the vegetables cook together for about 5 to 10 minutes until tender and fragrant, their flavors blending beautifully. Remove the pan from the heat and let it cool for a moment. Now spoon the vegetable mixture over the grated cheese on your beef rectangle, spreading it evenly. The colors look so beautiful together. Creamy cheese under a rainbow of golden vegetables. Using the parchment paper to help, carefully roll the beef up from one end to the other, like a jelly roll. Take your time here. Roll it tight enough to hold everything inside, but gently, so the filling doesn't escape. Next, lay out 2 packs of bacon strips on a cutting board, slightly overlapping them to form one wide sheet. Place the beef roll at one edge of the bacon layer and slowly roll it forward. The bacon will wrap around the beef like a blanket, ready to crisp up in the oven and give our roll that irresistible golden crust. Take a baking sheet and line it with foil. Place the meat roll on top, then wrap it snugly in foil, just as you see in the video. Slide it into a preheated oven at 360 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius and let it cook for about 1 hour. While the roll is in the oven, let's prepare some crispy potato wedges. Take 5 or 6 potatoes and cut them into wedges. Try to keep the pieces roughly the same size. That way, they'll cook evenly, soft and fluffy inside. As you slice, you can almost hear that familiar crunch of the knife going through the potato. It always takes me back to family dinners, when we'd sit together, peeling and cutting potatoes, everyone helping out in the kitchen. Place the wedges into a large bowl. Then grate 2 cloves of garlic. Garlic and potatoes are such a perfect pair. The garlic gives that gentle warmth and aroma, while the potatoes soak it up beautifully. It's a simple combination, but one that never fails to make the whole kitchen smell inviting. Add the grated garlic straight into the bowl with the potatoes. Drizzle with 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Season with 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1 teaspoon of oregano. Now grate 2 ounces or 60 grams of Parmesan cheese. Sprinkle it over the potatoes, and then mix everything well so each wedge is evenly coated in oil, garlic, spices, and cheese. Already, they look delicious even before baking. Arrange the wedges in a baking dish, spreading them out in a single layer so they crisp evenly. Place the dish in the oven alongside the roll and bake for about 40 minutes until they turn golden and wonderfully crunchy. Let's prepare a simple but flavorful glaze for our roll. Combine 3 tablespoons of ketchup, 1 teaspoon of mustard, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of grape vinegar, and 2 tablespoons of honey. Stir until smooth. This glaze will add a shiny finish and a sweet, tangy kick that makes the meat roll irresistible. After about an hour, take the roll out of the oven and carefully unwrap the foil. The aroma is already incredible, but now comes the best part. Brush the glaze generously over the top and sides. The sweet and tangy sauce seeps into the bacon, giving it a glossy finish and even more flavor. Return the roll to the oven, uncovered, for another 7 to 10 minutes, just enough time for the glaze to set and the bacon to turn beautifully caramelized. Now for the moment we've been waiting for, plating. Slice the beef roll into thick rounds, and you'll see the layers of juicy meat, melted cheese, and colorful vegetables tucked inside. Place a couple of slices on a plate. While that finishes, check on the potatoes. By now, they should be golden, crisp on the outside, tender inside, and fragrant with garlic and Parmesan. Take them out and set aside. Add a generous serving of the Parmesan garlic wedges, and finish with a few cherry tomatoes and fresh salad greens for brightness and color. This dish is perfect for any special gathering. The beef roll is rich and full of flavor. The bacon adds that irresistible crispiness, and the potatoes make the perfect hearty side. It's a meal meant for sharing, one that fills the kitchen with warmth and brings everyone together. I hope this recipe brings as much comfort and joy to your family as it does to mine. Thank you for cooking with me today. Until next time, happy cooking!